If you always feel like you're betraying your family for doing what you want to in life, congratulations, you have been successfully manipulated by your parents, and they might not even realize that they are doing it. And that's why you end up in this exhausting loop where either you give in and do what they want, but then you feel like you're just dying inside, or you try to live your own life, but then walk around with this constant knot in your stomach, like you're just wondering if you are a selfish, horrible person for wanting to be independent, carrying so much guilt that you're not even sure if it's even worth it anymore. So I'm going to show you the 3 manipulation tactics that keep you trapped in that guilt-ridden loop, and how to break free so you can start living a life that you're actually excited to up for. So I'm going to share with you the most common tactics that dysfunctional parents use, and each of them tries to target one primary emotion that makes you cave. But a fair warning, okay? You're going to have a hard time wrapping your head around it because you've experienced so much of it that you think that all of this is just normal. So the first tactic, it hits you right in the chest. They make you feel like absolute garbage by saying you're selfish, you're ungrateful, you're abandoning them after everything they've done for you. Do you know how much we sacrificed for you? And then suddenly you can't breathe properly. Your heart is racing and you're just scrambling to prove that you are not the monster that they are painting you out to be. Now, this is a brutally effective psychological trap because it's not just about making you feel guilty. It's a direct attempt to make you feel like the bad person. Like, instead of being honest that they're uncomfortable with what you're doing and what you want, they just make it about your integrity instead. They question your love and your loyalty. Now, this first tactic is called guilt tripping, and its sole purpose is to make you feel so guilty that you just change your mind and do what they want because you really want to let them to know that you love them and you appreciate them for all their efforts. But I want you to know that just because you feel bad, it doesn't mean you did something wrong. You see, dysfunctional parents, they train their children to feel guilty for existing as anything other than they approve of. You're not doing something wrong objectively. You can love your parents for everything they've done, but they will still feel unappreciated if you don't do exactly as they say. Now, this isn't a sign that you're ungrateful at all. So the next time you bring up something that you want to do, but you walk away from the conversation feeling like an ungrateful child for even mentioning it, now that is your clue that they just used this manipulation tactic on you. Now, the second tactic is when they make you feel completely stupid. You don't know what you're doing. You're making a huge mistake. Listen to us. We know better. And here's why this hurts so badly. Because since you were young, they have held a magnifying glass to every failure that you had. Not as a lesson, but as a proof that you are a screw-up. So whenever you make a mistake, you feel that sting of shame, right? And now, whenever you try to do something that they disapprove of, they remind you of all of that lifelong list of mistakes. And the goal, of course, is to make you question your own competence so deeply that you actually almost feel grateful for their leadership, forcing you back into that role of being the follower while they are the leader. Now, the second tactic, it's called benevolent dictatorship. And its sole purpose is to exacerbate your insecurities. To make you go, am I really doing the right thing? Is this the right choice? Maybe I should just do what they say, They know what's best and they want what's best for me. But I want you to know that healthy parents will never make you doubt your own capabilities. They will encourage you to look into things deeper and truly believe in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. They're not worried that you'll make a mistake because they know that you will come out of it stronger. And this mindset alone, it creates such resilient adults that trust their own voice and naturally lead other people. But you were robbed of that. So the next time you excitedly share plans and decisions, but walk away full of doubts about it, you just know that your parents just used this tactic on you. And now this final tactic is an attack on your self-image. It's when they go, oh my gosh, what will other people think? What are you doing? Why are they trying to shame our family? Do you want to be the black sheep? This is so effective because they have conditioned you since childhood to measure your worth through the eyes of others, constantly comparing you to other kids who were better, making you believe that public opinion is way more important than your inner reality. They're not just asking you to consider their feelings. They are blaming you for ruining that perfect social facade that they need. your authenticity becomes an embarrassment, and your independence becomes a public humiliation to the family name. So this final tactic is called social hostage taking, and its sole purpose is to make you feel so much shame, to make you question your own belief about if you're even a good person. And because you've been trained to value your worth through external validation, you will find yourself crumbling and giving in to what they want, and truly believe that maybe you are a bad person, or a bad daughter, or a bad son, if you do what you want to do. But I want you to know that when someone uses externalities to determine the worth of a person, it's a classic sign that they are running off patterns of unhealed trauma. They need that social validation to create a sense of worth, because their trauma leaves them so detached and unable to look within themselves to find that sense of worth. So next time you bring up something that you want to do, and you walk away feeling just tons of social pressure internally, spiraling, thinking, what will people think? You know that this tactic was just used on you. See, the thing that makes these 3 tactics so effective is just how frequently they use them and how normalized it feels to you. For example, you might say, yeah, I'm heading out a bit. My best friend is down. I'm going to bring her some food and take care of her. And your mom will go, oh, okay, that's nice. I mean, I had a splitting headache all day yesterday, but you must have slipped your mind. Instead of being happy that you're a caring friend, they see it as a personal slight that you chose your friend over them. Or maybe you share a small piece of good news, or that you're a plan that you're excited about. And maybe you say, hey, Mom, I'm thinking of putting an offer on that apartment that in that neighborhood I was talking about. Remember? And they go, are you sure you can afford that? Did you check the crime rates in that area? You tend to rush into things. Okay, let me look into the listing for you. You might be missing something. I think I know this other neighborhood that I think is a lot safer. Your aunt lives there. So instead of celebrating your milestone, they immediately question your ability to make the decision at all. Maybe you say, yeah, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to be swamped at work this weekend, so I'm going to have to skip Uncle's big birthday dinner. I'm really sorry. And they go, you can't skip it. Everyone's going to be there. What am I supposed to say? If you don't show up, they're going to ask where you are, and it makes the whole family look bad. What are we supposed to tell them? You have to go. No way. So you make a simple scheduling choice that doesn't involve it at all, and it's because you're just swamped with work, and they make it a reflection about the whole family's name. Now, these micro-manipulations, they break away at you just bit by bit without you realizing it. So eventually, when one of those big heated conversations comes around, when you have to say something really intense or talk about a big decision, they pull out all 3 tactics one after another, making you cave and do what they want, even on the most life-changing decisions that you will make. And you want to know what's even crazier? Even as I tell you all of this, and you're aware of all of the tactics I just said, they will still work on you. Your body will still react. Your heart will be pounding, your stomach twisting, that familiar anxiety just flooding your system. You will still fall for it. And do you know why? It's not because your parents are some sort of mastermind manipulators. It's precisely because they have no idea that they're even doing it. But how is that even possible? Well, here's what's actually happening. You are living in 2 completely separate realities. In their reality, love is transactional, measured by what you can do for others. Respect is in the hierarchy. It's predetermined by age and authority in your life. And worth is external. It's determined by what other people think. So in their minds, they aren't manipulating you. They are simply enforcing the rules of reality as they see it. But in your reality, love is about connection, right? It's about how much you make the other person feel seen. Respect is mutual, not demanded by age. Worth is inherent, something that you are, not something that's driven by social validation. So in many ways, your reality actually opposes theirs. It threatens their hierarchy, the idea of love, and their social status. And this is precisely why after a tense argument with them, where they don't approve of what you want to do, you walk away feeling that brain fog, feeling like your head's been scrambled, questioning everything about yourself, wondering if maybe you really are selfish and ungrateful. What you're experiencing is something called destabilization, because there's a collision of 2 completely different worlds and you don't see it. You're thinking it's just a matter of using the right words and trying to find the right perspective to really get to them to understand. while they're feeling threatened by the very values that you live by. It's like trying to explain color to someone who doesn't even realize that they are colorblind. So now here's the truth. You can learn about all these manipulative patterns and the colliding realities. You can journal about them, and you can even tell yourself, okay, now that I know, next time I'm going to make sure I speak up. But the second they trigger, that old guilt and shame will rise in your chest, and you'll find yourself giving in all over again. Because you can't just push through the guilt and force yourself to choose yourself after a lifetime of being trained to believe that doing so makes you a bad person. Because you're not just battling guilt. You are battling an identity that you didn't choose, one that's been enforced through childhood. An identity that tells you that your worth depends on keeping other people uncomfortable. That if you speak up, take up space, say no, you'll be punished. Not just with anger, but with separation, disappointment, and shame. And let me tell you, this identity, it doesn't just stick neatly in your family. It hijacks every part of your life. In your career, it's the reason why you've watched equally capable colleagues get promoted while you stay in that, reliable but invisible box. It's why your ideas just die in your head before you say them out loud. It's why you walk out of meetings kicking yourself for staying quiet. It's the reason why in your closest relationships, you feel drained, unseen, or even half-loved. Because you're hiding how you feel in just this deep fear of conflict. And why, even when someone treats you well, you can't really fully believe that they won't leave the second you disappoint them. This is why no matter how much you read, you journal, and just try to be more confident, the second someone shows even a hint of disapproval, you just shrink back into the smallest version of yourself. Because it's not a mindset problem, it's an identity problem. You were taught all these unspoken rules about who you're allowed to be, how much space you can take, and what love should cost you. And until you see them and see these rules clearly and start removing them, they will keep running your life. And this is exactly the work that I do with my clients. We don't just talk about your past, we map the exact ways it still shapes your present. I'll show you how the trauma you develop from a lifetime of manipulation leads you to unconsciously hand over your power at work, how you over-accommodate in relationships, and how you read situations through a lens that was built to really keep you small and keep you that follower. Then we dismantle it. We rewire the beliefs that keep you locked in guilt, so that when pushback eventually does come from a parent, a boss, or a partner, you don't crumble. You learn to read people's psychology as clearly as you see your own, so you are able to tell the difference between someone's wrongdoing and your actual wrongdoing. And you'll find deep self-confidence and self-esteem through that. My clients go from decades of living in other people's comfort to building careers where they're actually respected and relationships where they feel understood. They stop feeling grateful just to be chosen. They stop apologizing for wanting more. And they finally trust themselves to choose a life that's theirs. Okay, it's not easy work. Okay, it's an intensive experience where you and we work very closely together to do the kind of difficult, vulnerable work that most people, they spend their entire lives avoiding. But it will rewire your entire operating system so you can start doing what's truly right for you. So if you're tired of living by the rules that you never really agreed to, and you're done watching that cost your career and love and the peace you deserve, there's a link in the description to book a call with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one.